No, carry on, carry on.
Carry on.
Yeah, go.
To the Current Age podcast. I'm your host, Victor, and this is your co-hominid, Connor. How you doing?
Oh, hello, I'm doing well. That was possibly the worst intro we've done so far.
It is, and there's not many to choose from.
Yeah, true, actually.
Gotta have a worse one in there somewhere.
Yeah, definitely. That's the benchmark.
Yeah, there we go. So what have you been up to?
Been pretty busy. Yesterday I got my second dose of the vaccine, so we're now fully vaccinated. You also got yours as well?
Yeah, in the weekend, and I've recovered now. Just had like mild side effects, but nothing major, and yeah, feeling good now.
Yeah, I haven't had anything. I feel good.
Yeah, which is great.
Yeah, that's really good. I've a few people I know have had some pretty major side effects.
Right.
So I was pretty lucky to get away with that one, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty exciting because hopefully at some point Magic events will be able to fire back up when everyone's the vaccines like throughout the community and everything.
I hope so. We're up to like, what's it, 60% vaccination
I think
rate?
60% second dose, more or less, in Auckland at least, and I think first dose is around like 80 or 90. I think.
Yeah,
like, pretty high.
Nationwide, I think it's 80%, but it'll be higher in Auckland. It'll probably be around 85.
Something like that. I don't know the exact numbers, but yeah, I think it's promising.
Yeah. We're definitely getting there. Because the numbers are rising again.
Yeah. So fingers crossed we can beat it to the punch and all be immune before it gets out of hand.
Yeah. No, it should be fine. But yeah, what have you been up to?
Well, yeah, just came back from the park, which was nice. Getting outside a little bit for like one of the few outings I've had for the last couple of months of actual fresh air. It was really nice. But aside from that, in terms of Magic over the last week, yeah, I've been kind of having fun still. I mean, I guess we've talked a couple of times about the limited format, but honestly, it's sort of kept on giving. I think this is probably one of the sets that I've had the most fun drafting for quite a while, and I'm kind of at the point now where I'm abusing the power level of blue and black, where you don't really need rares in that deck. You just take really good commons and uncommons, and then you rare draft everything, and then you get like the like 5th, 6th, 7th pick good uncommons, good commons, and still end up with a really powerful deck despite the fact that you rare drafted everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, just filling out my collection with all those like pithing needles and like unplayable draft cards that nobody wants. But like, hey, when I open packs, I'll be opening good cards now.
That's true, actually. Yeah,
it's working.
good.
It's the strategy is working.
Just go infinite.
Yep. So yeah, I've been having quite a bit of fun with that. What about you?
I've been getting up pretty early, watching some football.
Oh yeah.
The old weekly football update.
Nice.
The All Whites, which is the New Zealand national football team, had 2 friendlies over the past week. And they played against Curacao, which is a Caribbean nation, and also Bahrain. They won both games, surprisingly, even though New Zealand is ranked 50 places lower than both of those teams.
Oh damn!
So that
Does that change the rankings?
Yeah. So they'll fire them up pretty high
Right.
now. They'll be top 100 now,
Ooh.
definitely. I feel.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's pretty good news for them, considering their team is like super inexperienced. Like the average age is like 21, 22. So
Wow.
this is like, and they haven't played in 700 days, I think it was.
Wow.
Like their last game was in 2019.
Yeah.
So they hadn't had any practice compared to Bahrain.
That's why they got so much better. Look, you look at their ages, right? They're all in their like very early 20s or I guess late teens. I don't know. They've been playing FIFA. They've been playing FIFA over lockdown. That's why.
That's all they've done. They've just played FIFA.
And suddenly they're really good.
I've always wondered what it's like for professional players who play FIFA. Like, they see their do they look at their rating and go like, this can't be right? Like,
mate, I'm faster than that.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of weird. It'd be an interesting thing. But no.
Like you wouldn't really mind too much, right? You'd be like, yeah, my face is on the screen.
Yeah, true, actually.
I made it.
Yeah. But it was also interesting because with the lockdown in New Zealand and Australia, a lot of the players who play in those two countries were not allowed to play.
Oh, right.
Because they just weren't able to go over to Bahrain to play in the friendly. So they had to get a bunch of the players that play in like 16 different national leagues across the world.
Oh, okay.
Who are New Zealand citizens, but they just play in different countries. So they couldn't get anyone from from New Zealand, Australia, but they had to just pull people in.
Yeah, yeah.
Which can be quite disruptive to them, because they have to like fly over, play games here, and then in Bahrain, and then fly back, and then play games like two days later for their team.
True.
So it can be quite taxing. I would imagine, especially with like time zones and stuff.
Yeah, that stuff. I can't imagine that it's easy to get into their schedule of just like flying around all over the place, playing very intense sport games after having like a terrible sleep schedule because you just can't like adjust quickly enough.
Well, usually you just play in a national league, so you are just used to one time zone, or like two time zones depending on where you are. But yeah, for people who play for national teams, it would be quite tough, I'd imagine. But no, they did really well. They dominated both games, which is good. Good to see. Yeah, looking forward to them playing qualifying games for the World Cup.
Very nice. Yeah, that should be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to getting updates from you as to how that goes.
yeah. No, it'll be good.
There were some pretty sweet challenge results as well from this weekend. Do you want to talk a little bit about? I think there was a deck you kind of liked from that tournament, and just some cool stuff in general.
Oh, nostalgia! The nostalgia, the winning deck, undefeated. Congrats to Curryvore for piloting Blue White Yorion.
Congrats to what?
Curryvore. Yes.
Awesome name, by the way.
It's a great name. Great name. I would consider myself a bit of a Curryvore too, but
aren't we all really at heart?
Yeah. But he was playing Blue White Yorion Blink. So 80 card, playing Wall of Omens Restoration Angel, just like they did back 7 years ago.
Just like the old days.
Just like the old days, but with Solitude, Teferi, and kind of the blue counterspell package as well. With Archmage's Charm Force, you have Supreme Verdict, Prismatic Ending. So, very controlling base Blink deck, which is pretty cool to see. I did like it, because my first modern deck was a Blue-White Sun Titan deck, which I took to a national event, which was a very poor choice, but it was funny anyway.
It was so cool. That deck was awesome. That deck was actually so... Oh, it was so cool to see.
Oh yeah. It's cool to see that a deck like that perform well. Sucks though, because it costs like 1,000 ticks and I can't rent it. So.
Oh.
But oh well. But yeah, other than that, we had 2 hammer decks. One was the usual black-white, and interestingly had Hangerback Walker on the sideboard, which I'm not too sure what that's for. Well,
I guess against the removal decks, you just chuck it in. You got like a semi-resilient creature, but
I guess so. But it's so bad against Prismatic Ending.
True. Yeah, actually, that's a good point.
I guess it's good against red and black removal spells. So.
Yeah, but then wouldn't you just play like Doom Traveler?
No. What? No.
It's the same card, right?
Sure.
I
do that. It makes a. I was about to say it makes a flying threat, but Hangerback Walker also makes a flying threat.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty stock list apart from the Hangerback Walkers, which is an interesting innovation there.
Just a question as well. You're saying that the black-white lists are stock. I haven't really been following the development of Hammer like super closely, but is that what they're doing now? They're mostly black-white with like some number of Thought Seizers sort of thing?
Yeah, so over the past few weeks, or I guess months now, it's basically just been mono white with a splash of Thought Seizers on the sideboard.
Right.
Along
that's
with
what I've seen
mostly.
Stuff. Yeah, like the mono white mains.
Yeah, and bringing Thought Seizers against the control decks or whatever.
Yep.
So that's pretty stock. But then
right,
the other hammer deck was red white, with main deck Magnetic Theft.
Oof.
And that's the card that like instant speed equips something, right?
Yeah, I think it's
for a red
You
mana.
equip target equipment to target creature,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So it's just another Sagada's Aid, basically. Sagada's Aid
But not only
5 and
that,
6.
but you can steal the hammers, right? If you're in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
mirror,
yeah. You can steal. Yeah, you.
it's the better Manriki Gusari.
Yeah, the Mankini. But
Yeah.
it's a good mirror breaker, that's for sure.
Yeah, and a
Uh,
fine card on its own if you've got like enough equipment, which the deck really does.
yeah, and it also has Wear Tear in the sideboard as well,
True.
which again very good in the mirror. So they definitely hate playing against the deck they're piloting, apparently. So
I mean, who likes mirrors? Come on.
yeah,
who likes
exactly,
mirrors?
mirrors are probably the most boring thing to watch anyway, or play. But yeah, other than that, we had 2 stock burn lists. Pretty simple stuff there. Amulet Titan making a comeback, maybe. I hope not, but maybe.
It's not that bad. Actually, I kind of like a healthy dose of like a bit of amulet floating around.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
alright.
Interestingly, they're playing the Khan Wishboard again,
Oh, okay.
which we saw a few months back, maybe a year or so ago. But they kind of fell off, right? And they just went more towards Amulet.
For a while, they were messing around with different builds of just like kind of comboing with Dryad.
Yeah.
And, like-
well, they still going for that.
But for a while, they like took out any like a lot of the other stuff, and they were like very focused on the Dryad combos and like kind of getting value. I saw a few like teamer lists messing around with some other stuff that was just like more value focused kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I think 4 Dryad is stock now because this list
Right,
is
right.
still playing 4 Dryads
I see.
with 3 cards. Interesting, 4 Urza Sagas as well, which I don't think they played 4. I thought they played like 2 or something, but 4. It's just a good card, I guess. So
Yeah, and it gets you the amulet, right?
yeah, and this is playing a one-off expedition map, so you can just kind of
Oh, chain them. That's so good.
yeah. Well, chain once, but yeah.
Yeah, that's enough.
It's yeah. Getting
Can,
an Urza
can
Saga.
anyone really beat 2 sagas?
Yeah, it's true. It's pretty tough for a mid-range deck, that's
Yeah.
for sure. But no, it is good to see Amulet Titan come back. Definitely something that can catch people off guard.
Yeah.
We also had a Urion Ephemerate deck piloted by Canister.
This is slightly different to the winning list, was that right?
Yeah, this is a 4-color Urion.
Oh, right, the other one
list.
was blue-white Yurion Blink. This
Just
is,
blue-white. This is
all the
4-color
colours,
kind of elementals kind of stuff with
Oh, yeah.
Omnath, 4 Ren and 6, 4 Teferi, 2 Time Warps, which is an interesting
Time
addition.
Warp?
Yeah, Time Warp, which pairs quite
I
well
haven't
with
seen that
Omnath.
card in years! Sorry, what?
No, we saw it a lot in Historic until it got banned.
True. But like in Modern.
Yeah. But it pairs quite nicely with Omnath. Like, turn
Right.
5, you can play an Omnath, play a fetch land, get 5 mana Time Warp.
Oh! I don't know if I like this.
No. If you're sitting across from that, it's kind of a groan test, isn't it? It's like, oh,
Yeah.
it's pretty brutal.
Uh,
Yeah, but then the last deck in the top 8 was Murktide, Blue-Red Murktide, which
Yep.
has kind of fell off recently, I feel.
right.
Which, all the rave about Ragavan kind of died down. This is the only Ragavan deck in the top 8.
Right, okay.
So,
Interesting.
yeah, it's interesting to see that. So maybe it's not as broken as we thought.
Maybe.
It's definitely not as
Maybe it's
broken as we
lurking.
first thought. So
Yeah, it's about as broken as I first thought, which is not.
you thought it was trash.
Yeah, I said it was. I said it was fine. I said it was answerable.
yeah, it definitely is. Yeah, that rounds out our top 8, well, my top 8 anyway. Quite
Yep.
diverse, very good.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah. What about you?
I mean, it's cool to see those Yurion decks. Like, as much as I hate companions, those Yurion decks are pretty cool.
I don't hate companions. I just hate Lurrus.
Right.
I think Urion's fine.
Yeah. Actually, it adds some interesting twist to deck building.
Yeah. And what
But yeah,
about your?
so to answer
challenge?
your question, the Sunday challenge was pretty sweet. So it was taken home by user Demonic Tutors, with Yogg Dog, the Yawgmoth deck, bringing it back.
Flavor.
What's that?
Flavor. He
What's
is demonic. He is demonic tutoring stuff.
True. Actually, tons of tutors. You're right. It's the black green version, and it is playing a very tuned list of like a lot of like a lot of fours. With the one of Blood Artist to be able to be tutored and stuff like that. But one thing I found quite interesting is a single Thoughtseize in the deck. Two in the sideboard, but like in the main, one Thoughtseize.
You only need one.
True. I mean, you never want to draw two, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, deck looks really sweet though. I'm still trying to figure out like which versions of the lists to play myself, because I definitely want to mess around with it and been brewing a little bit, but like. Yeah, this list looks really, really tuned. It's like I'm not sure about the one Thoughtseize. I wonder how many Thoughtseizes you'd play in the list. I feel like it'd be none or more than one, but that's just me as a Thoughtseize aficionado.
There's no way one Thoughtseize is correct.
How many do you reckon you play in that deck? Because you don't want to dilute it too much either.
Zero.
I
feel like you just play
Just put them
zero.
on the
And
side.
just put them in the sideboard.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Because then you get to play another combo piece or something. I
True.
don't know. Yeah.
But speaking of its sideboard, there was also playing 2 Necromantia in the sideboard, which is a card that honestly I'd never even seen until I looked at the sideboard for this one. I mean, it's a classic effect. It's the 1 in black sorcery, choose a card name other than a basic land card name. You search your opponent's graveyard, hand, library for all of those cards, and exile them. And then they shuffle their library, and they get 2/2s equals the number of cards you stripped from their hand. That way. So it's a pretty good effect because you can hit anything with it compared to some of the other effects that are restricted to like non-artifact or non-whatever, right?
Well, what are you hitting with this?
That is a good question. A Living End?
Yeah, Living End is a good one to hit. That's for sure.
Emrakul against the crab. What's it called? Creativity deck.
Oh yeah.
There's a couple of I guess against
But the
the
issue-
Yawgmoth deck, you can name Yawgmoth.
Yeah, but the issue is with that is like, you can just win other ways. Modern is so flexible, especially with even in combo decks, where they just have an alternate way of winning.
That's true.
I don't know how good an extraction effect is again in modern in general.
Yeah. Maybe it's against Tron.
Yeah, yeah,
Name a Tron land.
true. I guess that is it just any card?
It says other than a basic land.
Okay.
Which is interesting.
I guess you would bring it in against Tron.
Yeah.
Oh, not on the draw.
Yeah, on the play definitely.
On the play, you definitely would. Yeah.
Well, actually, on the draw you could, because this deck plays 4 birds and 4 ignoble hierarchs
Oh yeah, true.
and stuff
True,
like
actually.
that, so you can power them out.
That's true, actually. Yeah. Good point.
But yeah, interesting card. It's just a version of that effect that I'd not seen yet, even though there's been so many versions of this effect, and they often just end up slotting into sideboards at some point.
Yeah, recently there's been so many versions of this card.
Yeah,
You got
yeah.
that. You got like Lost Legacy.
Yes, that's the one that I've seen the most of, I think, in sideboards, which is still not much.
Yeah, that one draws them a card, right? I think.
Maybe? I can't remember. They all have, like, minor downside, minor restriction on what they can name.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was a pretty cool deck. Again, congrats to Demonic Tutors for taking that down. There were 2 blue-white control lists as well. Interestingly, so they're both playing Kahira, and there seems to be some amount of debate, at least in this challenge, as to whether to play Chalice in the main, in the side, or some split between the two. One of them was playing no Chalices in the main, 2, I think, in the side. The other one was playing 1 in the main, 2 in the side. Which I think is interesting because we've seen quite a few lists in the past couple of weeks of people running like 3 in the main or something like that. So I wonder if that's a response to the meta continuing to shift, or what's going on there.
I think we're going into a weird period of Modern where it's starting to slow down.
Right.
We're not seeing as much Cascade. We're not seeing as much Ragavan decks.
True, as you were saying.
They are heading more towards mid-range and control decks.
Hmm.
So Chalice gets worse. It just gets worse there.
I guess maybe it becomes a little bit like the whole burn and dredge sine wave, where the decks that play one mana spells get good, and then the chalices in the main get good, and
Yeah,
then the decks
it,
fade in and out.
as soon as Chalice gets removed from main decks, you'll probably see a surge of Ragavan and burn decks.
Mm. But yeah, speaking of less Ragavan, there was actually 2 Jund Saga decks in the top 8 as well. The classic Loras build, and yeah. Hey, they weren't present in your challenge. They're practically the underdog here.
Yeah, true.
Is Jund back to being a 49% deck?
Always has been.
I mean, it seems to still be putting up results. Like as I said, two of in the top 8, so it's not bad at all. There was a blue black mill deck which looked like a pretty solid list. One copy of Sphere of Annihilation in the side, which is interesting. I think
me?
we've yeah. What's Sphere of Annihilation again? Let's just read
It's
that
like
one real quick.
it's like
I
the
just had it
Pernicious
up.
Deed or something.
Yeah, it's the weird one. Where is it? This one. Just loading it up. It is X and black, an artifact. When it enters the battlefield, it has X void counters on it, and then at the beginning of your upkeep, you can exile it, and all creatures and planeswalkers with mana value less than or equal to the number of void counters on it, and everything in graveyards with mana value less than or equal to the number of void counters on it. So it's like a suspend 1 board wipe for X.
It's
Like-
X or less, right?
X or less? There's a lot of text. Yes. Mana value less than or equal. Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be pretty bad if it was just X.
Yeah. There's so much text on the card, I had to just like skim through it again.
Yeah.
But is this card good?
What is it doing? Like, what is it doing in the meta?
I guess so. It's being played in this blue black mill deck. So I'm wondering if this is being played as a board wipe that also exiles from the graveyard, like as a way to. You put it in against decks where milling them is kind of a problem, and
Does
just
it
keep dealing with
exile-
the yard.
Does it exile lands from the yard?
I think it's just creatures and planeswalkers,
Okay.
so you can't get the old red and 6 value there.
True. Okay. I'm not too sure what this is really doing, but
I wonder. Wait, is that a repeatable effect at the beginning of your upkeep?
it works with Luris, right?
Yes. Oh no,
Which
no, it
is
doesn't
cool.
because you exile Sphere of Annihilation itself.
Oh.
So you can't
Wow.
get it. Yeah,
No.
I'm not sure. It's interesting. I think I suspect it's being played partly for the graveyard hate. But yeah, I'm not sure myself whether like a suspend board wipe is quite good enough. But definitely interesting to see it there, and I guess we'll keep an eye out for it.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. I've never seen this card played anywhere.
Yep. I think I saw it in draft once, and it was fine, I guess.
Yeah. No, I
Um,
don't think it's a very good card, but no.
Watch the space.
Yeah.
Aside from that, there was also Black White Hannah.
Hammer.
Hammer Montana.
What?
Why did I say that?
Yep.
With 4 bobs and some number of thought seizers. But yeah, the bobs caught my attention here because that's something that is pretty sweet in Hammer, and I haven't actually seen too many lists running bobs. I've seen them, playing the thought seizers, but I mean, it seems worth it.
Yeah, this has been a relatively new addition to the list over the past week or so. Like,
Right.
I don't think I've seen it other than this week.
Yeah, that's what I
Um,
was thinking, and I'm surprised that it's taken so long for people to put bobs in there, because when you think of good black cards, it's like Thoughtseize then Bob, right? Like for this kind of deck, for a
Yeah.
low to the ground.
Well, it seems great in the deck. It's interesting. It's replacing Ingenious Smith, which
Right,
was a new addition from the D&D set, which
Right.
people were kinda on and off about.
Yes.
They didn't know
yes.
if it was good, and I think they've kind of come to the conclusion that it is probably worth playing, but then I feel like Dark Confidant's just better in that slot.
Yeah. Over the course of the game, you're going to get more out of Bob, but I suppose the other one's an ETB, right? So you get it immediately?
Yeah, that's the big thing is like you could get like a zero drop, you could get like a Memnite Ornithopter played immediately to grow it that turn.
Right. Interesting.
But no,
Yeah, somebody who doesn't play the deck too much, I'm not sure. But yeah, you were going to say?
I do have a soft spot for Dark Confidant.
You do.
It hasn't been good recently. I want it to be good again.
Yeah, well, I guess Burn's not been helping with that. But maybe
Yeah,
when Burn
yeah.
fades out of the meta a little bit more again, I'm sure we'll see a resurgence.
Well, as I said, the meta's going slower, so Dark Confidant might be in a good spot now.
True. Looking forward to that because a Bob meta's a good meta, right?
Yeah.
Not biased at all.
No, not at all.
And then just to mention one living end as well. Looking very quad laser with a focused set of cyclers. 3 living ends, but yeah, a lot of 4s. And yeah, looks good. Still good. Continues to put up results.
It was piloted by Silent Song, which is very well known for playing Living End and only Living
Right.
End. So
Well, they're still doing well with it.
yeah, it's not a surprise to see them in the top 8 again.
Yeah. Sweet as. Yeah, I guess one other note is I saw in the blue-white control lists that I guess there's still some debate in the number of solitudes. I believe one of them was playing 4 solitudes, one of them was playing 3. But I wanted to bring this up because we were having this conversation a couple of days ago, and talking about whether in decks that aren't ephemerating or like comboing it with it in some way, is it still worth to play Solitude as a 4 of when you're potentially likely to be actually evoking it and 2 on yourself?
I think it's a mistake to play less than 4.
Really?
I think it is very good. And playing 4 isn't that much of a downside because you can just pitch them to themselves.
That's true.
But especially in slower decks like the blue-eye control decks, where you can easily just cast it for 5 mana, like that's huge. And it is probably one. It's one of the best, if not the best, card in the deck.
Right, really? Wow, that's a pretty bold statement to be making, yeah. But you're probably right.
Yeah, because you don't care about the life total.
Yeah.
It's 0 mana, instant speed.
True.
It's what more do you want, I guess.
And then you can flash it in later to get like a 2-for-1 by blocking and exiling something, gaining some life off the top of it as well, or even use it as an attacker.
Yeah, and ephemerating it can be a bit win more sometimes, but
Yep.
like that kind of draw is just absurd.
Yeah. Because that's interesting. That's how I've been feeling about the card as well. That it's been amazing. I've been playing it in the sort of mid-range decks. But I thought your impression was that it's less good in the mid-range decks in general. But I
Yeah,
might have misunderstood.
because the mid-range decks are wanting to 1-for-1 a lot of the time.
Right.
That might not be the case as much nowadays. But definitely with like Boomer Jund and stuff like that, 1-for-1ing stuff is just what you needed to do, and you just get to stop Dead Wars. So 2-for-1ing yourself and not having Ephemerate, and you're definitely losing. Well, literally losing cards in that exchange, which can't be great for a mid-range mirror, you know.
Yeah. But I guess what I've quite liked about it is that it's a good way to have a powerful play on 5 without sacrificing your curve, because it's a play on 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 as well if you need it to be, and it's not like 2-for-1 yourself, as you say, isn't necessarily always great, but it sort of smooths out the curve a little bit on those decks that have, especially I'm thinking of at the moment the sort of black whitish lists that have a bit of a pinch on 3 in terms of all the cards they want to be playing, but also. Yeah, it actually hasn't felt that bad, especially because there's a lot of inbuilt card advantage to a lot of cards. So, for example, decks playing like Kaya, Grist, all that sort of stuff, the Planeswalkers sort of make up for you 2-for-1 yourself by giving you onboard value. You got Stoneforge drawing you equipments. Um, there's a lot of decks that are playing. Well, I was gonna say companions, which somewhat true, I guess, in the Yorion decks. You can do the old trick of pay 3, put your companion in your hand, and if you're not close to casting it, exile it to the old, what's it called, Solitude.
Okay, I think there was a bit of a misunderstanding here. I don't think it's bad in the deck. I think it's great in the decks that any deck that plays it.
Right.
I just think it's better than in the control decks. And that point about the companion thing is really good, actually. That's why the blue-white lists are playing Kahira.
Yeah.
Is so you do always have a white card to pitch to Solitude.
Right, that makes sense because yeah, I'd seen Kahira start to show up in the control decks, and it makes sense that it would be for that reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet as. That's it's a card I like a lot, and I guess I'm still myself trying to figure out exactly which decks it's good in and which decks it isn't. But
it's good.
So
in
far,
any
I've been
deck.
really impressed with it. Yeah. Chuck it everywhere.
Play it in any white deck.
Play it in any deck.
You will not be disappointed. Maybe
Pitches to itself.
maybe at that. Yeah. True.
Anyways, moving on. Yeah, that makes sense. We had some Worlds action over the weekend.
Yeah. I feel like we don't have to go too in depth here because I feel like every podcast is going to be talking about Worlds,
That's true.
and we are more of
just,
a modern,
yeah.
focused.
Modern focus, yeah. And this was standard.
yeah. But we did have some points, so.
Well, I
you
guess
like
we can
to-
just talk about our experience of it because, yeah. But what did you think about it?
It was good. I didn't get to watch too many of the games because they started at like 5 a.m.
Yeah.
I could only do that for one thing, and football's that one thing. But
You have 2 screens.
I do have 2 screens, but that is I'm not doing that.
You don't have chameleon eyes. You can't like.
Also, no, I don't actually. Funnily enough, but I wanted to watch it in bed, and I don't have 2 screens while I'm in bed. So
Right, that's true.
But it was good. It was good coverage. It's definitely a lot better than what we've seen in the past. The coverage team was really energetic, clean. It was just quite satisfying to watch.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot actually. I thought it was really well done. Where I haven't watched too many competitive gaming events in the past, and honestly, up until this point, I've not really been too interested in watching Magic coverage. I've been more keen to play the game, but I thought for Worlds I should probably like tune in and check it out, and it was actually really cool. I thought despite the meta, despite the fact that it was standard, and that even though we've been talking a little bit about standard lately, we're more of a sort of modern focused group. Overall, it was really well done. The coverage great, and the players were really good, obviously because top tier.
Considering how poor the meta is, and we'll talk about this later, but it was actually quite interesting to watch.
Yeah.
Like
That's kind of what I'd echo as well. Yeah.
Yeah, the gameplay was actually entertaining,
Yeah.
which I feel like is kind of rare for standard. But
It surprised me, honestly. Yeah, I was expecting to tune in and have a look and kind of be like, oh yeah, it's an epiphany, and it's another epiphany, which it was, but it was still pretty cool.
Yeah, and the viewership of Worlds was a lot higher than other Wizards run events, right?
I think so. That's what I heard anyway, and it seemed like there was a lot of chat interaction. Just seemed to be a pretty popular. Like a lot of people were talking about it on social media. So.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, Pro Magic's dying. So, this might be
maybe Wizards will see this and they'll be like, it's a success.
They do like to go back on their word. So
They do.
we'll
Fingers
see.
crossed.
We'll definitely see.
This is one of the times where we're hoping they'll betray us.
Luckily, we still have third-party events, pro
Yeah.
events running, so that'll be good to see anyway. Who did you choose for your competitor?
Yes, so last week I mentioned that I was rooting for your boy Noriyuki Mori, and he had the really awesome blue-white tempo list. I watched a couple of his games actually, and they were really cool to see. Unfortunately, he ended up in 11th place, so not quite getting into the sort of top half of the tournament, or into the cut to top four. What was it?
Yeah, imagine coming 11th. Those are rookie numbers.
Yeah, true. I mean, like, I would have come at least like thousands down in a 16-player event.
Yeah.
But no, the games were actually really interesting. I thought that I watched a couple of games. It seemed like the deck had unfortunate draws. So I feel like he could have potentially done better if the luck had favored him. But it was still really cool to see because yeah, the games were really close. It was the two that I watched were full 3-game matches, so nobody getting stomped or anything. It was all really small edges, and the kind of magic we like to see.
Yeah. I do like that kind of magic. It did have kind of a mid-rangey feel to it.
Yeah. Always keen for more mid-range.
Yeah, true. Yeah. But no,
But yeah, what about you?
Yeah, I was rooting for Gabriel Nassif, which did not pan out too well. He was playing the Grixis Epiphany deck, which was meant to be the meta breaker.
Right, yes.
He came 13th.
Oh.
He went 2-5, I think, in constructed, so not that great result. But you still get some money. You get like $5,000 for coming 13th out of 16 players, so that was pretty good.
Damn.
Plus the 50 that you get for showing up. So I think everyone's a winner at this tournament.
Yeah. I mean, getting to Worlds would be quite something.
Yeah. Interestingly, though, the champion of Worlds, which we haven't mentioned yet somehow.
That's true. We're keeping it for later. We're keeping it for now, actually. For the big reveal.
Is,
if everyone doesn't know already.
Yeah, if you've been living under a rock. Is the winner was Yuta Takahashi, who was playing the Seoul Blue Red Dragons list, which we saw at the start of the format. And they kind of evolved into just Blue Red Epiphany without the dragons. And he was like, nah, we need these. Goldspan Dragon's still a good card. Smoldering Egg, great card. Which played out really well. I watched one of his games, and man, Smoldering Egg is a very powerful card.
Oh yeah. And Goldspan hasn't lost it. It's still got it.
No. It'll be interesting to see where the Blue Red lists actually go from here.
Yeah. We were talking about the fact that the next set is releasing in a couple of weeks, right? Something like that. Or no, their preview season starting in 2 weeks.
Yeah, preview season starting in 2 weeks. But an interesting point is the winner of Worlds gets to design a Magic card.
Oh, are they still doing that?
Yes, they are.
Oh, because they stopped that for a while, didn't they?
Well, Paulo Vitor Dama de Rosa, who won the previous one, he is Elite Spellbinder.
Yes, which is super cool. I think this is an awesome tradition.
Yeah, and since Takahashi is a fairy master,
ooh,
what do you think he would make?
Bitter Blossom, but with his face on it.
just a functional reprint of Bitter Blossom.
Well, for it to be functional in Modern, I think it needs to trigger on Instep.
That's true, actually. With prismatic endings running around everywhere, yeah. Definitely.
And gain life instead of losing it.
Okay, no.
And make 2 tokens.
I feel like he'll really want to push it.
Yeah.
So that it could be.
I mean, I would as well. If I were designing a card, I wouldn't want it to be the next Colossal Dreadmore.
Yeah. Because I feel like Fairies is one of those decks where one more card and it could be an actual player.
Oh yeah.
Like, what is it? Maybe like 6, 7, 8 years ago in Modern, Fairies was a real deck.
That's true.
I've seen it. I've definitely played against it quite a few times.
Yeah. What do you reckon the deck needs? What does it want?
I don't know. Another Fairy.
You're probably right there.
I don't know. Probably an impactful 2-drop,
Right.
I think.
A lord? Is it? Does it want lords?
Maybe. Bitter Blossom... Yeah, maybe. That could be good. Another Lord could be good with Bitter Blossom, that's for sure. And with,
Well,
like,
I feel like if
Mutavault
you're designing a
and-
magic card, like, are you really gonna waste it on just a lord?
I don't know. We haven't seen many Fairy Lords. There's like one.
True.
There's not much.
It
But
makes each fairy you control make your opponent discard a card when it hits.
Oh my god. That with Bitter Blossom.
I mean,
Good
that'd be
lord.
kind of sweet though.
Yeah. That'd be insane. It'll be interesting to see what he does.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah, for sure. No, looking forward to seeing that as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, what else has been happening? I think there was another item on the agenda.
Yes, so today, there was a BNR announcement.
Breaking news!
Yeah. So, basically everyone's been talking about bans in Standard. Epiphany and Asika's Chariot being the main two culprits. Nothing's changing. No changes. What do you think?
Well, I think that the good thing is that they really explained their reasoning quite well for all of the changes in the BNR. All of the no changes in Standard. But what they were saying is that the next set's coming out pretty soon. As we were saying, in 2 weeks' time we start spoiler season, which will already take the heat off the attention that's on Standard at the moment. And then, is it like 2 weeks after that or something like that, the set releases digitally?
Yeah, something like that, 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, so I'm kind of curious to see where it goes. I mean, we all know Vampires is going to be a top tier deck, so it's probably going to be able to easily beat the Epiphany decks.
That's true. Yeah.
After the performance of Werewolves.
Yeah. The werewolf set, yeah, definitely. They definitely crushed it with the werewolves. I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. What about you? I mean, like, not seriously about the Vampires, but I do think it's worth just seeing how the format shakes out with another set coming in so close.
Yeah, I mean, 1 month is kind of nothing compared to what we had to go through with the adventure cards. So
True.
I feel like the Magic community can hold out 1 month. That'll be alright. I'm not
Without
sure.
complaining though.
Oh, there'll definitely be a lot of complaining. No questions about that. But I don't think you want to ban cards straight after Worlds.
Right.
There'll definitely be an influx of the decks, and since it was only a 16-player event, and there was, 7 archetypes or something, you'll see an influx of those top-performing decks for a while, but then people will start to try and counter those decks. So, I don't know, it'll be interesting to see what the meta turns out like in the next few weeks. And with the release of the next Innistrad set, it'll hopefully that can make some serious changes and not just be Epiphany decks.
Yeah, I'm still hopeful that just the fact of having a larger card pool as Standard gets more sets is likely to just make it healthier.
Yeah, we just saw rotation, right? So there's only like 4 sets.
Exactly. Like when I was looking to build decks right at the start of the format, I was like, there's only a couple of good cards in each color. So it makes sense that there's not that many decks that you can make out of them.
Yeah.
It's an exaggeration, obviously, but still, having more playables and sort of build-arounds and whatever else they print will mean there's technically, in theory, more strategies that are available.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be more exciting, for sure.
Although they might all still play Epiphany.
God, I hope not, but I feel like it's more likely than not.
Yeah, it's hard to beat that.
Yeah. But anyway, no changes in Standard, which I think is a fun choice.
Yeah.
What else do we have here?
We've got Historic next, which is getting a little bit of ban love. We have Tybalt's Trickery banned, Memory Lapse suspended, and Brainstorm banned off the suspended list.
These are all good changes, I feel.
Format health. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think these are all really good changes for the format. Memory Lapse was just, I think 2 mana counterspells in Historic is too powerful.
Right, right. It
We're,
does start to feel a bit more like a sort of spells format when all the what did they call them again? The not the invocations. The Strixhaven spells came out.
oh, um,
Whatever those are.
spell book? No, I don't know.
Something
The
like yeah, I
fancy
don't know.
the
There
fancy
was a name.
cards.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the fancy cards. There we
the
go. We'll
fancy
stick with that.
ones.
But yeah, when there was like brainstorm, faithful suiting, memory lapse, all that sort of stuff going around, it was like, oh,
It was definitely uh, how do you say it? It was definitely a risk.
mm,
I think putting all these powerful cards into Historic. And luckily with Historic being a almost 100% arena format, you can easily just make these changes.
that's true.
No one's really making Historic decks on paper because, well, the Jumpstart Horizon cards aren't even. Are they even in paper? They're not, are they?
The new cards. They were like arena only cards added in
Yeah,
Jumpstart Historic. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. So you really can't make paper Historic decks.
that's true.
Tybalt's Trickery is one of those cards that just should. I don't know. It should target an opponent card.
But I think that the way it was designed, it was supposed to be kind of like a fun combo piece, but it turned out to be easier to break the fun
Well,
and make
well,
it like an actual deck.
was it meant to be a
Then
red counterspell?
nah, it wasn't because if you look at the card's text, right? Hold on, let me just load up the card. Tybalt's
Yeah.
is it? How do you spell Tybalt? T-I-A-B.
ALT.
Tybalt Trickery. If you analyze the text and read between the lines, you just see Tybalt smiling back. No, it's in the art. It's not that hard to see. But it does say, so it's 1 in a red instant, counter target spell, choose 1, 2, or 3 at random. Its controller mills that many cards, then exiles cards from top of their library until they hit an online card with a different name than that spell, and then they get to cast the spell without paying its mana cost. And the rest go on the bottom of the library in a random order. Now, I think the line where it says, choose 1, 2, or 3 at random, and the spell's controller mills that many cards, shows that it was clearly that they clearly thought about the fact that it might be used to counter your own spells, and that
It it it,
they didn't want
it,
players to be
it
seeing it.
counters. Yeah, it counters like scries and
Exactly,
like
they didn't want
tutoring
people
to
to
the
be
top of the deck.
like tutoring to the top, or scrying things, or having some way to manipulate that. So they wanted to have the randomness make it very difficult to get around that. But to me, that indicates that they were definitely thinking about players using this to counter their own spells. They wanted that to be a feature of the card.
I don't know if they wanted it to be a feature. I think they were like they kind of tried to make it safe, and it just didn't work out that well.
Right.
Like I feel like it I don't know. Is there any explanation on this card of like why it was made anywhere?
I'm not sure. We would
I
have
don't
to
know.
read like there's probably been some threads on Mauro's Twitter
Yeah,
asking the question.
it's
But
definitely
I'm not sure.
it's definitely one of those cards, just like what's the card? Underworld Breach.
Yep.
Where you're only playing it for the combo aspect. There's
Yeah.
no other play to it. Thassa's Oracle as well. No other play to it. And these cards kind of cause trouble, which we've seen. Thassa's Oracle got banned in Pioneer. Tybalt's Trickery now's been banned. Underworld Breach got banned as in Pioneer as well.
Right. Yeah.
It's what's the card? Bridge. Underworld Bridge. Is that the
Yep.
card? Triple
I
black
think that's
card.
one. Yeah. The one
That-
that's banned in modern now.
Exactly. That's only there for
Doing
combo
broken
decks.
Yeah.
Yeah, only for breaking a format. And I don't know why you'd keep printing cards like this. I don't know. I feel like these kind of cards are not great for the game. I'm trying to. I guess I'm
Yeah,
trying to say.
I guess so. I can kind of see an argument for some of those cards. For example, like what's the one that I'm thinking of? Where you win the game if you have 200 cards in your library or whatever. Something will.
Oh, um, oh, I can't remember. Why can I not remember?
Battle of Wits. That's the one.
Battle
I
of
had to
Wits.
scan my inner library for card names, but
Yeah.
yeah, Battle of Wits. I think is an example of one of those cards that's fun, where like
That's fine
it
though.
it wins you the game or it doesn't, right? Like it's either winning you the game or doing nothing. Um,
Yeah, but you have to jump through so many hoops to make that one good.
yes, but I think my point is that it's sometimes hard to know how hard it's going to be to jump through the hoops that you set up. Like I think they thought this card was going to take many hoops to jump through, and that it was going to be a card that you can just randomly play and like hope that the 40% of the time that you hit something good, you'll have fun with it, kind of thing, and it will be not good for constructed, but somebody's gonna make a fun deck and like have a blast messing around with it, sort of thing. But
Well, we've seen this before with unexpected results.
yeah, and that
that's
was a fine card, right?
Well, that's basically an unplayable card. So they've
But
taken
people
that
have
card.
made fun decks though. Like
Oh,
I've seen some cool
definitely.
unexpected results decks.
Oh yeah, definitely. But they took that card, halved the mana cost, and made it instant speed. And made it better because you're flipping through the cards instead of just revealing the top card.
Yeah, I suppose that is a bit far to push it. Yeah,
You've upgraded the card in 3 different aspects.
fair. But I guess my point is that sometimes these win or do nothing cards do have a place, even though it is a very fine line to be walking.
Yeah.
But I do agree, it probably wouldn't hurt to tone them down a bit.
Yeah. Like Happily Ever After.
Oh
That was
yeah,
the
yeah,
game.
that was a card that was perfect, perfectly balanced.
Yeah.
I still have a horribly curled foil one of those like sitting around in a box somewhere. Probably.
Oh, awful.
But
Well,
anyway, we're still like only halfway through the historic changes. There were also some card changes, right?
we didn't talk about Brainstorm.
Oh, true. We mentioned it and then sort of moved on because Tybalt's trickery. But yeah, true. Brainstorm.
Yeah, it's gone from suspended to banned. We
True.
can move on now.
Alright, soon.
I don't
Yeah,
know. I don't
nobody
know.
didn't see that coming. But
I don't know what the
fair.
suspended list is for, or I don't know. You could just ban the card and then bring it back. I don't know why there's a
I guess you could,
middleman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Well, speaking of skipping the process of putting cards in suspended, perfect segue. We got some card changes. So, pretty much, they have gone through and decided that since historic is digital only, and there are some cards that are designed for digital only, they can edit those cards, and just straight up change what they do, which is a pretty big departure from what we've done in Magic before, but I think it's certainly interesting. I guess we'll talk through the card changes, and then we'll have a chat about the implications there.
it's Hearthstone time.
Say it with me. RNG?
I don't know what you were going to say there, so I didn't want to say something just completely
Not
random.
gonna lie, I didn't know what I was gonna say there either.
You lost me on that one.
Mm.
Yeah, you lost yourself on that one too.
But at least I was unpredictable, like the thing that I ended up saying. So it all worked out in the end.
Nice.
Yep.
Flavor win right there.
Flavor win. If you can't get the real win, you take the flavor win.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
Anyway, so we had Davriel's Withering changed, and Davriel as well. So previously there were cases where you could target your own creatures, make them perpetually have less toughness, and because they had ways to come back from the graveyard, you would end up with infinite loops where they would come back and die immediately, and come back and die immediately. In some cases you'd win the game, and if you didn't have your payoffs, the game would be a draw because you didn't get a choice. It was a state-based effect.
So the main culprit here is Vesperlark.
Yep.
Which does not say you may.
No.
Which is awful, because if you don't have something like a Blood Artist, or is that the main one? Is that the only one?
I think so. I mean, yeah, I think that was the main one that was seeing. Oh, there were some ways to gain life, right? You got the one that makes treasure.
Yeah,
Tavern.
but that doesn't actually win the game.
Oh no, and that's still a draw, isn't it?
Yeah,
Because
that's
you
still a
can't
draw.
in the
You have
game. Yeah,
infinite
true.
life, but that's still a draw. So,
Yep.
so if you don't have your blood artist, the game's a draw. And the change we've seen here is the effect. The Davriel's Withering and Davriel now just say target creature an opponent controls. So you can no longer target your own Vespelark, which is a great change. I remember my first game after Jumpstart Horizon, or whatever that thing was against this deck, and he turned 3 comboed me. I was like, well, that was fun. I
Good
lost the
game.
game.
Moving on.
Yep, exactly. Moving on from there. But this is the best change we've seen out of these rebalance cards, I think.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, when they revealed that was a thing, it just seemed like that's not gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Because you can just draw the game when you don't quite get the win. It feels a bit like a salty, like, well, if I can't win, you can't either.
Yeah. Definitely
Which,
has that feel to
I mean,
it.
as an Xbox player, I understand, but still.
True.
But yeah, we had a couple of other changes, which I suppose we should mention. A little bit smaller in those, but Faceless Agent, which is I suppose we should say what it does. It's 3 generic mana, right? It's a changeling, and when it comes in, you get to seek. I think was the term for a card of a card type that you choose. Is that what it does? I think that's something.
Most prevalent creature type in your library.
Non-creature type.
No, most prevalent creature type in your library.
Oh, yes, that's right. So you don't get to choose, but you play it in tribal deck, and it gets you whatever on-tribe member it finds.
Yeah, and Seek is Seek at random?
I'm pretty sure it is, yeah.
It is,
Yeah, it's not a tutor.
No. Seek a creature card. Is it? Is it a tutor?
No. It sounds like a tutor, Seek.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, yeah, it just puts a card into your hand from your deck, essentially. So you definitely get like a 2-for-1 off it every time, but you don't know what it's going to be. But yeah, it was a 2-1, and it's now a 2-2, which is interesting.
Minor change.
Yeah, I think it's probably fine to be changing that, yeah?
Yeah, it's definitely... Tribal decks in Historic are generally not very good. Like, the main one is Goblins, I guess. Which, Goblins doesn't even play this, because there's so many Goblins. But for the fringe tribal decks, having a card like this is a real game changer, I feel.
True, and it would be nice to see a bit more tribal decks, because just off-meta tribal decks are something, I think they're one of my favorite parts of Magic. Like, when you see a really cool, like, the Dwarves Legacy deck or whatever, like, that sort of thing, it's like, oh, this is kind of awesome.
I feel like tribal decks are one of the bigger ways for people to get into Magic.
Yeah, just whatever tribe they like from their favorite fantasy show or whatever, like, oh, I'm gonna play dragons, and then it turns out it's just epiphanies. But
yeah, like one of the first decks I ever saw in Magic was an Angels deck. One of our friends back in high school was like, they made an Angel deck and they tried to even foil it. So, but
this proved to be a bad move.
yeah.
Shout out to Riley.
Yeah. What other changes do we have?
Yeah, we had Sarkin, Wonder to Shiv, and that's the 4-mana Sarkin, right? It does some stuff with dragons. I'm not gonna read out the whole card because it's a bunch of dragon stuff, but its ability is now a +1 from a +0, which is nice.
Which conjures up a Shivan Dragon.
Yeah, that's the one. And we haven't seen that card see a whole lot of play, so I think it's probably a good change.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird one to pick out and change, that's for sure.
Yeah, it didn't seem like it was something that stuck out like a sore thumb as a card that didn't see play. It sort of seemed like a card that was more designed for fun than for competitive decks, but yeah. Where's the Kiora change, man?
Kiora?
Yeah, the 4-mana Kiora that made like crabs or something. I don't know. There was some sort of ability like that. It was a similar. I felt like Sarkin and Kiora were kind of on the same power level of power level.
Yeah, true. Actually, giving tribal decks a buff, definitely a good thing for Magic.
Yeah. And then we had Subversive Acolyte, which now costs 1 and a black instead of black and black. and I think they changed the pound toughness as well, so they gave an extra
Wait,
point of toughness,
this,
so that's now 2/3.
this is the same change they did to Tarmogoyf in development.
That means it's good. That means it's
Ta-
good.
Tarmogoyf was originally going to be green.
Right, interesting.
Yeah, and they made it
Oh,
one green.
how different Magic would have been.
Yeah. Mana bases were not as good as nowadays.
Yeah. And even then, I think even in well, not that people. Well, actually, people were playing Tarmogoyf kinda. I've seen it in the John Ragavan list.
Mate, I played against a green Tron earlier today, and they sideboarded in Tarmogoyfs, and I lost.
What?
Yeah.
What world do we live in?
Yeah.
Did they win?
Yeah, they won. Mate,
What do you mean you weren't expecting Tarmogoyfs?
I took out my removal. Archmage's Charm doesn't deal with it.
Oh, that's funny actually. Wow.
No.
But yeah, so that's another cool one. Silverus of Acolyte should be probably a card that's at least worth considering more for decks that were looking for another good 2-drop.
Yeah, getting it out of shock range is definitely good.
Yeah.
Making it 2/3 originally. They both of the abilities make it power and toughness the same. So they decreased the pump on the abilities, but they increased the base toughness.
Oh, right, okay, right. I actually hadn't spotted that. That's a good point.
Yeah. So it'll end up being the same stats, but just getting it out of shock range is a good way to do it, I think.
True, because it feels bad if you pay the mana and then they just poop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not that it matters, because everyone's playing Unholy Heat in Historic anyway, but...
That's true, actually. It's harder to get Delirium in Historic, though.
not when my opponents are playing it.
True. There's no baubles in Historic.
Yeah. But yeah, so overall some pretty good changes, I think, and interesting to see how that will affect the Historic meta. I'll probably jam some more Historic just to see what things are changing, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't played Historic in a very long time, and these changes...
Me neither.
These changes make me want to play it a bit more, so good changes overall, I'd say.
Yeah, achieved the purpose.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess there's sort of an implied discussion there to have potentially about just like, does this mean they're gonna split digital off from paper because they're changing cards now?
I think it's just a Historic thing.
Yeah,
Well, we've seen
that's kind of where I'm sitting
erratas...
as well. Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen erratas in the past. Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, got errated.
Wait, did it?
Yeah, it still says on the card, untap 2 lands. It's a very small thing, but now it says untap up to 2 lands.
I did not know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, they changed that within like a week or so of it being printed, which is a pretty poor time to do it, I would say. But I don't know. It's
Why
a very
did they make that
small
change again?
I don't know. I don't know
In case
why.
you get Armageddon and you have to untap your opponent's lands. Oh no!
Yeah, I think it's because if you don't, I feel like it'll be fine though. If you don't tap out for anything on your turn and you have to untap your opponent's creatures, opponent's lands, and then they play
But
something on your
you
end
can
step.
untap an untapped land, right? Same as you can untap an untapped creature.
Yeah, in the end step, you could just tap 2 lands and untap them.
But you could even target them. Like they didn't say that they had to be tapped first, right?
You do have to target tapped land.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Interesting. The more you know. But yeah, no, I think I agree. It's probably not something that they're gonna do for main sort of Magic sets, because I think they do want people to still be able to build paper decks, right? Like of the formats that they like to play. They probably don't want them to differ too much.
Oh yeah, I think. What have I just done to the document? I think Modern is the biggest format at the moment.
Right.
Even with Worlds being standard and limited, I think Modern is the biggest place to play Magic at the moment. I think it's the best format for meta and for playability. The price is a bit but I think
There's still some affordable decks, yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely affordable decks. Burn is pretty cheap with the reprintings of stuff like Goblin Guide and Eidolon and things like that.
True.
So, yeah.
Sweet as. Well, I think that probably rounds it out for that section. And yeah, I think we're moving on to there's a new thing we're wanting to try out, which is kind of a semi long term plan. But what's that new thing we've been talking about?
So we were looking for some way to be in contact with the viewers, the few viewers that we have at the moment, but viewers nonetheless. And we wanted to maybe answer questions, or if you have a topic we wanted to discuss briefly, just leave them in the comments of the previous YouTube videos, and we'll check those regularly.
Yeah, we'll send us an email or something like that.
Yeah, I'll send us an email. We'll have our email in the description. So
Yes.
So yeah, we'd like to keep in touch with our viewership.
Yeah, so what we're doing is we're thinking in the meantime, while we're waiting for you guys to build up confidence, to send us the email, get some work yourself up for it, psych it up. We were thinking of just looking through Reddit and sorting by controversial, just to have some content to talk about. But man, the controversial topics on Reddit are like Tron is back, unhappy face. I don't even know if that's an unpopular statement.
Companions are bannable.
Oh no.
Hey, if the viewers have nothing, just roast us. Just roast us in the comments.
There we go, and we'll talk about our roasts.
Yeah.
But yeah, give us content. Get at us.
Yeah. No, that'd be good.
Sweet as. And now it's time for everyone's favorite. It's Monkey Do.
I cringe every time you say that.
The name segments, they continue to persist.
Oh, I don't know if you'll be able to get this one, but you might be able to.
Wait, actually, hold on. It says Victor to guess. Didn't I guess last time? I spent like half an hour guessing Will and Rowan. Oh no, that was...
You said that last week.
Yes, I did. The time blurs together. Alright, hit me.
A cursed horde.
A cursed horde.
Yes.
Alright. Rubs hands. Licks palms? Is that something people do?
No one licks palms.
Yep, that's what I'm doing. I'm not doing that. But alright, so it sounds like a zombie to me. So I'm gonna go zombie. It's in black. It's 3 and a black mana, and it's like a 4/3 with a wall of flavor text. That's what I'm going for.
Okay, you are very close.
Ooh, okay.
There is text. Would you like to have a stab at it?
I suppose I should, shouldn't I? Second chance. All right. When it enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless you sacrifice another creature.
So you're thinking of a very old card.
Probably.
This one's from Horde. This no, you got it wrong.
Oh damn.
This is from Hour of Devastation.
Oh okay.
Yeah. It is 3 and a black zombie.
Oh okay.
It's a 3/3, not a 4/3.
Ooh right.
And it's got 1 and a black. Target attacking zombie gains indestructible until end of turn.
Oh, it's that card, right?
Yeah.
I remember that. Actually, I played that at some point in draft.
Yeah.
It was fine.
It was fine. Yeah.
Oh sweet. Yeah, that's a cool throwback actually.
Yeah. It's a good one.
Some part of me remembered the mana cost.
Somehow.
Sweet as. Well, I think that just about does it for us. Yeah, pretty much gonna round out with a good old goodbye from me, and whatever you want to say.
We'll talk to you guys next week.